Skol Nation, stop right now. US Bank Stadium just shook with breaking news. Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach the Vikings desperately wanted, just chose Atlanta over Minnesota. A backup plan for Brian Flores involves a former Patriots head coach with zero coordinator experience. And a $75 million quarterback trade could challenge J.J. McCarthy. 3 moves reshaping 2026. Here's the first payoff. Callahan, the wizard Minnesota needed after firing Chris Cooper, picked Kevin Stefanski's Falcons instead of Kevin O'Connell's Vikings. If you're ready to see how deep this goes, smash like and subscribe. We start with the coaching loss that has Skol Nation questioning everything. Stay locked. Dreams die fast in the NFL. The coach Minnesota wanted most? Bill Callahan. The truth? He's gone.
According to Mike Garafolo of NFL Media on Sunday, Callahan is joining the Atlanta Falcons as offensive line coach after former Vikings coordinator Kevin Stefanski was hired as Falcons head coach. Stefanski, who called plays for Minnesota in 2019, just stole the one coach the Vikings needed. After the Vikings parted ways with Chris Cooper on Saturday after 4 seasons, fans immediately pointed to Callahan as the perfect replacement. The veteran had history with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, working together on the Washington Commanders staff from 2017 to 2019. That seemed like destiny. But Callahan chose Stefanski in Atlanta. The loss stings. Callahan isn't just another coach, he's one of the most respected minds in the game. Everywhere he goes, lines improve, run games flourish, quarterbacks stay upright.
Minnesota desperately needed that after years of inconsistent play under Cooper. Pass protection ranked among the worst, the run game never found rhythm. Callahan could have fixed both immediately. Now Minnesota pivots fast. With Callahan gone, a new name emerged, Dwayne Ledford. He served as Atlanta's offensive line coach and run game coordinator for 5 seasons. Under Ledford, the Falcons consistently had one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Ledford would be a massive upgrade over Cooper, especially if he can improve Minnesota's struggling run game. But here's the catch. Will the Vikings pursue him seriously? Or will O'Connell bring in one of his buddies? That's the fear. Minnesota can't afford another mediocre hire. The offensive line problems have been ignored too long.
If the Vikings land Ledford, it sends a message that fixing the line is a legitimate priority, not just lip service. Do you think the Vikings should go after Ledford? Drop your opinion. And if you're sick of watching McCarthy get pressured every snap, smash like. But losing the coach you wanted is just the beginning. The backup plan if Flores leaves involves a coach with a losing record and 0 experience. Next story reveals how risky this gets. Panic breeds desperation. With Brian Flores fielding multiple interview requests and potentially leaving for a head coaching job, the Vikings need a backup plan. Brad Gagnon of Bleacher Report analyzed all major coordinator vacancies and identified top candidates. Flores is the first choice for Vikings defensive coordinator, but Gagnon likes a name nobody mentions as Plan B, former Patriots head coach Jerod Mayo.
Mayo disappointed as head coach in 2024 with the Patriots, but the 39-year-old spent years as New England's inside linebackers coach with success, Gagnon wrote. Ideally, the Vikings keep Flores, but if the former Dolphins head coach gets another shot, Mayo would be logical after a recovery year. That's the pitch. But here's reality. Mayo struggled badly, posting 4-13 with the Patriots in 2024. That's historically terrible for New England. And worse, Mayo has never been a defensive coordinator. He only served as linebackers coach from 2019 to 2023, never called plays, 0 experience running a defense, 0 game planning week to week, 0 managing a coordinator's workload. Why would the Vikings consider him? The argument is Minnesota's defense is an established unit. In 2025, the Vikings defense ranked 3rd in yards allowed and 7th in points. The theory goes Mayo could step into a well-oiled machine and maintain what Flores built. But that's a massive gamble. Mayo's only year as head coach saw New England's defense regress drastically. The Patriots finished 22nd in total defense and points. That's not encouraging. Kevin O'Connell would be taking a huge risk hiring an inexperienced coach for one of the best defenses in the NFL, especially considering how much Flores elevated this unit over 3 years. The blitz packages, disguised coverages, aggressive mindset, all came from Flores' Patriot way mentality. Could Mayo replicate that? Maybe, but evidence suggests otherwise. Mayo never coordinated, never called shots on game day,
Never managed position coaches? He was a linebackers coach promoted too fast who crashed. Now trust him with an elite defense? Tough sell.
It's exactly the hire that could backfire if Flores leaves and Minnesota settles. Do you think Mayo deserves a chance, or is this disaster waiting? Comment below. And if you believe the Vikings must keep Flores no matter the cost, smash like. But while the carousel spins, another massive question looms. What happens at quarterback? Next story reveals a $75 million trade proposal. Competition. That's Kevin O'Connell's word for the quarterback position. He wants McCarthy challenged. He wants a legitimate battle in training camp. And that competition might come from an unexpected source. The player? A two-time Pro Bowler with a $75 million contract. The name? Geno Smith. ESPN's Kevin Seifert wrote about possibilities for Minnesota next season, exploring options from Joe Flacco to Aaron Rodgers to Kirk Cousins.
But one fresh possibility Seifert mentioned nobody talks about, a trade with Las Vegas Raiders for Geno Smith, whose days in the desert are numbered after the franchise secured the first overall pick and is poised to select Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Smith could be available via trade, Seifert wrote. Smith ranked 27th in QBR this season. That tells the story. Smith's 2025 was a disaster compared to his Pro Bowl years of 2022 and 2023. The most damning stat? 17 interceptions, leading the entire league. That's ugly. But here's why Minnesota might consider him. The Raiders traded a third-round pick to Seattle for Smith last offseason, then signed him to a 2-year $75 million extension through 2027, when Smith will be 37. After a terrible year, and with Mendoza waiting.
Additionally, Las Vegas won't trade Smith without absorbing a reasonable portion of his $26.5 million base salary in 2026. Smith doesn't make sense if he costs $27 million and a third-rounder. But if the price drops to a fifth-rounder and approximately $10 million next year, with the option to trade him for low cost in 2027 if things don't work, calculations change for Minnesota. That's the gamble. Smith had back-to-back Pro Bowls before 2025. He's proven he can operate a functional offense with competent coaching and weapons, and he brings veteran experience that could mentor McCarthy while pushing him. ESPN questioned sources about the Vikings pursuing a quarterback with enough stature to leapfrog McCarthy and become the undisputed 2026 starter before training camp. Nobody ruled that out, Seifert said.
At minimum, the Vikings will target a quarterback equivalent to what Daniel Jones was in 2025 when he won the Colts starting job during training camp and started 13 games before tearing his right Achilles. That's O'Connell's profile. Someone who genuinely competes with McCarthy, not just holds a clipboard. Smith fits that, especially discounted. But would he actually push McCarthy or repeat his 2025 struggles? That's the risk. Do you think the Vikings should trade for Smith? Or is his 17 interception season proof he's washed? Drop your hottest take. And if you believe McCarthy should be the undisputed starter all year, smash like and prove Skull Nation has faith. But faith doesn't win playoffs. Execution does. The conclusion reveals how these stories connect to Minnesota's championship window. 3 stories, 1 crossroads.
The Vikings lost Callahan to Atlanta, might replace Flores with an inexperienced former head coach, and could trade for a quarterback who led the league in interceptions. This is Minnesota's 2026 foundation being built now. If the Vikings settle for a mediocre offensive line coach instead of pursuing Ledford aggressively, nothing changes. McCarthy continues getting pressured, the run game continues sputtering, and O'Connell's offense underperforms, despite Jefferson and Addison. The offensive line has been the Achilles heel for 4 straight seasons. Fixing it requires bold action, not buddy hires. If Flores leaves, and the Vikings panic hire Mayo simply for Patriots connections, the defense could regress from elite to mediocre overnight. Mayo has never coordinated, never called plays, and his only head coaching experience was 4-13.
That's not a resume inspiring confidence when handing over a top 5 unit. Flores transformed Minnesota's defense into a suffocating force. Replacing him with someone unproven could undo 3 years of work in 1 season. And trading for Smith at discount could provide genuine competition for McCarthy, which O'Connell wants. But Smith's 17 interceptions raise red flags about whether he's a veteran presence or just declining and wasting cap space. The Vikings have a championship window right now. The defense is elite. The weapons are among the league's best. O'Connell is one of the brightest minds.
But the offensive line is broken, the staff might lose its defensive mastermind, and the quarterback situation remains uncertain. All three need solutions, not band-aids. Here's what I need.
First, smash like if you believe the Vikings must go after Ledford and refuse to settle for another mediocre offensive line coach. Second, drop a comment answering this. Should the Vikings trade for Smith at discount, or is it too risky given his 17 interceptions? Third, subscribe, because every subscriber makes Packers fans furious, and we're about to dominate the NFC North. But here's the cliff edge. O'Connell's next three decisions: who he hires as offensive line coach, whether he retains or replaces Flores, and what quarterback competition he creates for McCarthy, will define whether 2026 is a championship run or another wasted season. Those decisions come in the next 2 weeks, and one more domino waits. If Flores accepts a head coaching job in the next 72 hours, Minnesota has 1 week to convince Ledford to leave Atlanta before other teams swoop in.
Plus, this is a rumor. The Packers are targeting the exact same offensive line coach candidates Minnesota wants. Whichever franchise closes the deal first could determine who wins the NFC North. That story drops next. Skull Nation, the battle starts now. Hit subscribe and let's make 2026 the year Minnesota breaks through. We ride together. See you in the next war.